gangsters, geeks, my boys, junks, all the new folks joining the server. Want to show you guys just some stuff I do to help get my spots picked, right? And make a good trade and try to find that edge. So first of all, if you're new to the server, let me just give you guys a really quick way of thinking about this. So server's not necessarily a place where you should just be like asking people direct questions all the time about where do I get in, where do I get out. I feel like you have to understand some basic stuff, and then you have to use this room as a place for gathering consensus, right? If multiple traders that you trust and you've learned to trust are talking about some stocks, and if you keep hearing Grom, or Vion, right? If you keep hearing people talk about certain names, right? It's on you to go and try to figure out what that stock is doing, and to sometimes watch it for a little bit and see what it's doing. You never want to just get FOMO and buy something when it's, and chase it. There's always going to be a pullback. So just know that, that feeling of, there's yes, we're alerting and we're on high alert. Sometimes some of the good traders will announce their entries and exits, but not all the time. So you can't expect us to tell you, hey, we're stopping out here or we're getting in exactly here, right? But I tend to put out charts that help people pick their spots. So I'm gonna give you guys an example of how I picked out this spot for hour just now, right? And it could go below here. It could be a total fail. I could, a lot of times I pick these spots and they're no good, and sometimes I have to deal with it, right? So before I even get in a trade, I have a lot of questions to ask myself. Can I afford to lose this? What happens if it does tank? How much am I buying right now? Do I want to put my whole trade, my whole load on this trade? Or if I don't have enough day trades, let's say I'm trading on a small account, is this going to screw me up? Am I going to get stuck holding this thing, and should I be making this trade because I've maybe run out of day trades, right? So before I show you guys that, because that's a banger, that thing is sexy right there, right? But let's just look at my fundamental strategy. So when you're talking about fast-moving stocks that are moving, the daily kind of movers, like Mullen's going crazy today and Vion's been going crazy. When you're talking about fast-moving stocks, these technical patterns, these very simple patterns, are going to be a lot more effective than when you're talking about a stock that's been dormant for a really long time, right? So, or if you're looking at a one-day graph and you're trying to come up with a play, you have to realize that that's going to take a lot more time to develop. So I just go and check the 5-minute graph. Usually I'm on the 5-minute. Now, if I got some big size on and I'm really trying to figure out exactly where I can get in or get out and what's going to happen, I might zoom in on the 1 minute. But generally the 5's okay, right? So I'm real simple, man, and I don't think you need to use too many indicators. I just typically use trend lines. So to draw a trend line, you need to connect these 2 points here, or 2 or 3 points, right? So I'm pretty much trying to just do that, and I see that this was the trend. This was the trend that slipped a little bit earlier, that really didn't, it kind of held up. It was strong, then it snapped off, and it kind of had some activity. So I know that this trend, 1, 2 points, 3 points, is pretty fundamental, and I can already see that probably something's going to happen here when it's going to try to back test. May come off a little bit here, or may try to pop up in this area a little bit and play with this line, right? Not the cleanest trend line I've ever seen. That's also because hour's been moving really strange. It's been a kind of a strange stock in terms of the way it's been moving, right? If I look at other more technical plays, I'll see, sometimes these trend lines are good for smashing a bunch of times, right? So in this particular case on Mullen down here in the corner, I mean, look how many times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, bang, 7 even, and then, that trend is super valid, right? There's a lot of spots on that trend where this thing isn't illustrated that it's strong and never look back. So you definitely can just, pull out a simple trend line, and then also these support, so this is supporting, right? Support, but now when it goes under, it's resisting, right? And when it's in a resistance zone, that's when you start saying, all right, where can I get this thing under resistance, right? So I should be buying here, right? And I should be buying here, right? But we're not always paying attention, right? So then it's like, shit, what do? Maybe I tried on this point right here and it didn't work, and I'm like, uh-oh, it went through there. What do I do? Do I bail, or do I buy more and dollar cost average? What do I do there, right? So a lot of times I'm buying, I never put my full load on a trade. So I'm always usually buying about 1/3 of what I'd like to buy when I buy the support, right? This way I have two options. I can average up and buy a little bit more if the thing's going crazy and try to make a quick play, or I can buy a little bit more when it goes under. Now, a really strong stock that's been moving for weeks and just been doing really well, it's been on everybody's radar. It's gone from nothing under 50 cents or 60 cents. It's becoming a big boy stock, right? It's very volatile. It's got a lot of good news, right? If it does break support, right, I'm going to basically measure this out. And if I just eyeball it sometimes, I could be like, it's probably not going to go too much further from there. But there are other tools, if you are more sophisticated, like a Fibonacci, that could have told me that 382, that first resistance or that first support line, was probably where it was going to go. So that's to draw the Fibonacci tool, you basically just find the low and the high of the move. So this was the move, right? This particular situation was the move. So I'll grab that, and that's kind of also where my trend line kind of starts up. So I just kind of grab that, and that's how I got another area for my buys, right? In between the 50% retracement and the 32. All Fibonacci's is basically telling you, it's retraced about 1/3 or half, or certain percentages. It's a mathematical numerology kind of thing. So so that's how I sometimes figure out my dip zone spots and put more conviction on where I'm going to do my box in that area, right? So that's how you trade. And now if it can get over the support again, this is where you add on. So if it was strong, bang, I got in here, bang, made a move, got back over this line where it failed earlier, and makes this back test right here, that's where you start to add on, right in those spots right there, right? That's how you make the perfect trade, when you can learn how to average up and average down, right? And not sit there and bag hold and be outside of your comfort zone, right? Got a potential situation here where we did the same kind of thing, more or less. We kind of picked out that spot. Let's see if the fib will actually tell us anything on this particular move, if it was accurate where that thing went to. In this case, it dripped down into that 618 fib. Did hold up there pretty well, but again, hour's been moving a little bit odd, so you kind of have to understand and get a feel for hour. If you watch hour enough, you'll know what it's doing. But getting back over here and fading up this back test, so possibly what that could look like for me is, if I'm long in this zone here, I added on actually from earlier, I was long down here. But if I add on in this zone and I add on again maybe in this zone, I would wait till it to bust out here and then hit this thing and try to go again. So it might do something like this, and then it might do something like this if it does show strength and get over. Or if you're a scalper and you buy the 495s and you're good with the 545s, that's a decent return. You might be thinking about trying to just get out of here as well. So you got decisions to make. There's different ways you could play things. Those are just some extra tips. You're going to learn a lot in this room, and do me a favor, participate, but watch, observe. When people drop names on names, tag the stock. Maybe just buy a couple of shares so you're more invested and you understand the price action. Maybe just buy $100 worth. If your average trade is $2,000 per trade, buy 100 worth just so that you can tag where the price is at. Then it's on your feed, then it's on your radar. You don't forget, because at any given moment there could be 100 different stocks we're talking about. But Junks and I try to pre-filter a lot of these stocks out and make these plays good for you guys. If you make some money, do something good for your family, do something good for the homeless, or do something good for someone. Always good karma. That's what this community is all about. This community is about helping each other. And I can't tell you how much money Junk has made me and how much money I've made Junk over the last few years, and Saggy Bags and all the other folks inside of here. So just make sure that if you are making money in banking, do something good for the world. A lot of times you don't realize, but people are hurting. People in your own family could be hurting and not be too afraid to tell you that they're hurting. So do some good shit, and also check out Class X Token and the Geniques. We're launching an NFT platform soon. We also made a graphic novel, 65-page graphic novel about computer science. Incredibly dope. There's a video up there. And also we're launching Class X. which is a really cool, dope thing, which I'll tell you more about later. It's a place for academics to get together and learn about crypto and computer science and all kinds of other stuff. Have a good day.